As there are too many changes happening in international education in Australia, we decided to come up with a video that will update you every single month regarding these changes. And let's get started for this month's updates. The first big update is Perth and Gold Coast will be considered as regional areas. So from 16th of November 2019, Perth and Gold Coast will be considered as regional areas in Australia for immigration purposes. So what does that mean for international students? So if you are planning to study in Perth and Gold Coast, you will get some additional benefits for studying there. So some of the benefits of studying in a regional area include 5 extra points when you are applying for your permanent residence in Australia. So students who are studying in regional areas will be eligible to apply with 5 extra points that they will get because of studying in these regional areas. The other benefit is that you get 1 extra year of post-study work visa when you study in a regional area. And Australian government has also announced that people studying in regional areas will be eligible to apply for a scholarship that is called Destination Australia. With this specific scholarship, you can get up to $15,000 per year for your studies. So regardless of the study level, whether it's Certificate 4 or PhD level, you can get a scholarship for that. Although Australian government has announced up to 1,000 scholarship for this, but it will be equally split between international and local students. There's a good chance that around 500 international students will get this scholarship, but this scholarship will start sometime next year. The second major change is the assessment level for these 3 countries has changed. So the students coming from India, Pakistan and Nepal will be in assessment level 3 instead of level 2. So Department of Home Affairs basically make assessment for each country that the students are coming from. So if the students are coming from a high risk countries, they will be considered in level 3. If it's a medium risk level, then it's number 2, and if you are coming from a country where it's a low level risk, then you will be considered at level 1. And it also depends upon the type of education provider you are planning to study. So Department of Home Affairs actually assess the level of education providers in Australia. So all the top ranked universities will be considered as level 1 because they are low risk providers. Although the requirements for the assessment level 1 providers has not changed much, but if you are planning to apply from these 3 countries to the education provider which is at level 2 or 3, then you will need to provide some extra documents. So what does this change mean for international students coming from these 3 countries? Basically it will mean that you have to provide extra financial documents proving that you can support yourself financially when you're studying in Australia. You also have to meet English requirements, which means you have to undertake an English test. It could be IELTS or PTE. It will also mean that there will be a strict checking by Department of Home Affairs from students coming from these 3 countries. And based on the article we have read, some institutions may even refuse to give COEs to the students coming from these 3 countries. We'll put the link to that article in the description below, so check that out. The third major change is the cost of living for visa purposes has increased. Now usually every year or 2, Department of Home Affairs increase the cost of living for visa purposes. And this year in October 2019, they have updated the new prices for that. Generally, you should have enough money for 12 months of your course fee, 12 months of cost of living, your travel costs, and if you are bringing school-age children, school fees for them. So the cost of living for visa purposes from October 2019 are, for singles it's $21,041. If you're bringing partner, add another $7,362. And if you're bringing dependent child, then consider adding another $3,152. So how does this change affect international students? So basically you have to provide more funds when proving your financial capacity requirements. And last but not the least is the license law changes in Victoria. From 29th of October 2019, the international students who are planning to study in Victoria for more than 6 months and they would like to drive after those 6 months will need to have a Victorian license. And if you don't have a Victorian license after 6 months of your arrival, you could be facing penalties. So what does this change mean for international students? So in the past, international students were allowed to drive on their overseas license as long as they were on a student visa and they had a copy of English translated driving license with them. So international students who are currently living and studying in Victoria and they're driving their car on their overseas license currently, they will need to get the Victorian license within 6 months from 29th of October 2019. Especially if you are going to work in an industry where you will need a license to work in, this change will directly impact you. Now this change does not only impact international students, it's going to impact everyone who's planning to move to Victoria, whether they're planning to move to Victoria on a permanent resident visa or any other visa. Well, I hope you find this video on all the updates that has happened recently useful. If you do, make sure to like, share and subscribe. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.